we are going to be drawing a mouse. Well, two mice. There's two of them, not just one. And a big hunk of cheese, because mice like cheese apparently. So as usual, please make sure that if you are drawing with a marker or a Sharpie, that you have some scratch paper underneath there so you don't bleed through your paper onto your drawing surface and end up with all of these fun little Sharpie dots all over your desk. Alrighty, so let's begin. So we're gonna start with the block of cheese. So our cheese is going to be in right around the middle of our paper. And remember, our paper is going to be long ways this time because our drawing is a little bit longer. So right in the middle, we're going to draw a rectangle. And this is going to be kind of the front of our cheese. So we're going to start with our rectangle. And then at the top of the rectangle, from the left side, your left-hand side corner, we're going to draw a diagonal line to make a triangle on the top to make our cheese look like it's three-dimensional. I'm going to start at that corner and I'm going to draw a diagonal line, but it's not going to go all the way across. Then I'll draw another diagonal line from that end to the top of our cheese. So again, it's just a diagonal line up from the left side and then back down to the right side. And of course, because cheese totally has a face, we're going to give our block of cheese a face. No, cheese does not have a face normally, but since we're drawing kind of a cartoony mice and cartoony cheese, our cheese is going to have a face. If you don't want your cheese to have a face, if you want your cheese to be a more realistic looking piece of cheese, then you don't need to draw your cheese's face, but we're going to draw a face on our cheese just for fun. So I'm going to put my eyes a little bit closer to the bottom, but you can do yours in the middle, near the top, wherever you want. So I'm going to draw two circles for my cheese's eyes. That sounds very strange to say because cheese doesn't have eyes. And then I'm going to draw two smaller circles on the inside for that shiny part of its eyes. If you want to add another one to the bottom, you can too. And then if you're drawing with a marker and you want to fill it in now, you can fill in your eyes. If you're going to fill it in later, that is fine too. So my cheese has its two eyeballs now, because it's very strange cheese that has a face. It's fine. And then my cheese is really excited. It's a very happy piece of cheese. So right in between those eyeballs, I'm going to draw a straight line, kind of a short straight line. I know right now he looks like he's kind of like, meh, whatever, I'm cheese, it's fine. But, and if you want to leave your cheese like that, that's totally fine too. But I'm going to draw a big, excited mouth for my cheese. He's very excited to be a piece of cheese today. Might not be so excited after we draw the mice that are probably going to eat him. And if you have that big, open, excited mouth, you can draw kind of another little curve in there for our cheese's tongue, because why not? Our cheese has eyeballs, of course it can have a tongue. And then I'm going to fill in my mouth. So now our cheese has a face. So it's up to you what kind of cheese you have. Maybe your cheese is like just a hunk of like white cheese, which is totally fine. And you can leave your cheese just like this. My original cheese has some holes in it, although technically Swiss cheese, which is the holy cheese, is white. It's fine. It's my drawing. I can color it however I want. So if you choose that you want to have some holes in your cheese, maybe, you know what, maybe this is a hunk of cheddar cheese and these mice have already taken some pieces out of it, and that's why it has holes. I don't know. So if you would like to add holes to your cheese, you can. So I'm gonna add some holes to this cheese because I think it makes it look more fun. So you can add little kind of circles. I have some that kind of go off the edges, some that are just in the middle. I have some little ones, some big ones. Make sure that if you're putting those holes on there that you're giving some on the top too. So now my cheese is nice and holy. Yes, Sarah, it's that kind of holy. Not really, it just has holes in it, that's all. All right, so now that we have our cheese, we need to add our mice. So you can kind of decide where you want your mice to be. And if you only want one mouse, or if you want two mice, maybe you'll have three mice. Doesn't matter, it's up to you. I'm gonna draw two mice because I don't wanna draw more than that because it takes too long. So I'm gonna start on my left side. My first mouse is gonna be peeking out from kind of the pointy part of the cheese. So I'm gonna draw a circle that looks like it's kind of hidden a little bit by my cheese. That's my little mouse's face, or his head. And I'm gonna add his ears. His first ear is gonna go kind of behind the cheese. He's hanging out back there. The second ear will be a whole circle on this side. And then the inside of a mouse's ear is kind of pink. So I'm gonna draw another circle on the inside of my mice's ears because the inside is gonna be pink. Now our mouse needs a face. He's missing a face right now. So I'm gonna give my mouse two kind of smallish eyes. And since they're really small, if you don't want to add those kind of shiny spots for the eyes like our cheese has, you can just fill them all the way in. I'm gonna add like teeny tiny little ones so that its eyes still look kind of shiny. No, well, my other eye didn't go very well, so that's fine. Only one eye is shiny. And then I'm gonna add a teeny tiny little nose in the middle. If you'd like to add whiskers, you can. I waited until the very end after I colored to add my whiskers because I drew them on with a really sharp colored pencil. But it's up to you. And then your mouse's expression is up to you. Maybe your mouse just is smiling. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, cheese. It's up to you. You get to choose. You're the artist. My mouse is going to be very excited, kind of like my cheese. So I'm going to draw a straight line and that U shape underneath it with that other little curve for the tongue. And I'm going to fill it in. He's very excited. And of course, mice have their cute little long tails. I love their tails. That's my favorite. So our mouse's tail is going to come out from kind of lower, well, definitely lower than his head. And it's just going to be kind of a squiggle. And if you want to leave your mouse tail as just a thin line, you can. Or if you want to make it thicker, you can kind of add another line next to it. Again, you don't have to. You can leave it as just the one line, or you can add a second one if you want to. And my mouse is going to be kind of holding on to the cheese. If you don't want your mouse to be holding on to the cheese, that's fine. You don't have to add this part, but mine is. So I'm going to add two little hands And notice that I'm doing my two little hands kind of different shapes than my little holy bits on my cheese, because when I drew my kind of original drawing, I didn't do that and I accidentally colored my mouse's hands orange. So I changed the shape of my mouse's hands to kind of little ovals rather than the more circly shapes. So I know that these little things are not holes, they are mouse hands. So we have our first mouse. Now we can add a second mouse. So of course you can add your mouse kind of wherever you want. My other mouse is gonna be kind of near the top of my cheese. Maybe he's hanging on at the top of it. I'm gonna draw another circle for my mouse's head. And then I'll do the same thing that I did before, and I'll add the two ears onto the sides. And I'm also going to add those second lines on the inside for the pink parts of my mouse's ears. So now that we have our second mouse head, our second mouse needs a face. So again, we're going to draw two eyes. And we're going to fill them in. I'm going to give my mouse a little kind of upside down triangle nose. And all three of my mice are going to be super excited. So I'm going to give them the same kind of open, excited mouth as my mice, my other mouse, and my cheese. You know what? This mouse is going to have, just for fun, my mouse on this side. I decided he's a little boring over there. I'm going to give this mouse a weird little long hair that sticks up from the top of his head. You can if you want to. If you don't, that's fine. It's all good. You can add whatever you want to your mouse, like I said. And then our second mouse, of course, needs a tail. So again, your tail can just be that line, or you can make it a little bit thicker by drawing a line next to it. And if you'd like to add another mouse, there looks, at least on mine, there's about enough space right up here at the top if you want to add a third mouse, or you can leave your mouse just like it is, or your mice just like they are. So I'm going to put my original mouse or mice back up. I'm actually going to add that little hair on the top of that mouse's head to this one because I think that's cute.